She used our son's college fund to pay her drug dealer. I testified, she got prison and I got my son. Man, I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud. She used our son's college fund to pay her drug dealer. I testified, she got prison and I got my son. I'm Letitia, 37, and I swear, living through this shit is still like a bad dream. I remember that morning clear as sunrise. I was working my shift at the corner bodega on Mulberry, ringing up bread, eggs, water, just trying to make ends meet for me and Malik, my 11-year-old son. We was living in that 2-bedroom project flat down on Jordan Street with my wife, Shanice. Everything seemed normal. I left at 6 a.m., Malik sleeping in his room, and Shanice already up, getting ready for her part-time gig at the local grocery. I kissed Malik on the head, told him to be good for his moms, and bounced. By noon, my phone rang. It was the bank. Normally I'd let calls go to voicemail, but I felt this knot in my stomach and answered. The banker hit me with, "Ms. Bradford, we've had some large withdrawals from your son's college savings account, unauthorized. You need to come in." I felt like somebody punched me in my gut. Our plan was to save up for Malik's future, dropped a couple hundred every month since he was born. I wasn't getting big paychecks, but we made it work, shared rides, ramen dinners, hustling odd jobs. Now some of that money was disappearing. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe they mixed up my number. But nah, he read me the amounts. $2,000 here, $3,000 there, all cash withdrawals in the dead hours of the night. I was shaking so hard I could barely catch my breath. I left the bodega early and headed straight to the bank. I walked in sweaty, trying not to look a mess, heart racing like crazy. The banker pulled up my son's account on the screen, showing me timestamps at 3 or 4 a.m., days I was home sleeping or at work. I must have asked him 60 times if it was a mistake. He just shook his head. That's when I realized Shanice must have been talking it. I kept thinking, nah, she wouldn't. But how else? I left the bank in a daze. The sun felt too bright. I passed by the grocery where Shanice worked mornings, saw her inside slinging boxes of cereal. She looked tired, eyes red, but I passed her like a ghost, too scared to call her name. I had this sinking feeling my whole world was shot Aaron. I called my best friend, Tasha, on the walk home. She answered on the second ring, breathless. I said, "Tash, they say Shanice been withdrawing money from Malik's account." She froze. 1 second of silence, then, "Girl, deadass?" I said, "Deadass." She said she'd be at our place in 10. Right then, I felt my legs buckle. I stood on the sidewalk, clutching my bag, mind racing. I tried picturing Shanice and Malik together, her helping him with homework, her Logan when he made that dumb face. It made me sick. When I got home, Tasha was already there, riffling through Shanice's purse, finning text to some number that said, "Need the bag, bitch," and hearts. I felt my head spin. Tasha told me, "We gotta protect Malik." And I knew she was right. That night, I sat in front of our daughter's laptop, pulling up the private messages Shanice exchanged with that phone number. I saw her addressing him like he was her sugar daddy, talking about spitting cash for whatever she needed. My head spun. That was my son's future going straight to some dealer I'd never met. I started thinking, how did I miss all this? Was I blind? I remembered the late nights she said she was spinning extra shifts, but she wasn't at any store. She was out chasing drugs. Next day, I contacted Mama Price, the neighborhood lawyer who handled family shit. She was this older lady, sharp as hell, no bullshit. I told her everything: bank statements, texts, receipts on stolen items Shanice pawned for cash. Mama Price said, "We gonna file for emergency custody of Malik. And we press charges for theft. If we got enough evidence, she's going down." I felt sick to my stomach, but I knew it was too late to turn back. We trailed Shanice for a week. I wanted proof. One night I saw her roll up to a rundown motel on Fulton and Park at 2:15 a.m. She went inside room 7, popped out 15 minutes later looking shaky, cash in hand. I filmed it on my phone, hands trembling. That was it. I had the receipts, texts, video, enough to bury her. When it all hit the courthouse, I felt like I was in one of those crime dramas. Malik sat in the back pew, held by his auntie Keisha. He was only 11, but he sat extra still, looking tiny in that big pew. My hands were shaking when I got on the stand. The prosecutor asked me to read some of the texts. Bitch, I need that money for the bag. Malik getting that scholarship? Don't care. My voice cracked. I reminded myself, it was to protect my child. Shanice's eyes were red, her face pale. She kept whispering, "Baby, I'm sorry," to Malik, but he wouldn't look. I saw that break my own heart. My lawyer drilled into me. "Why didn't you notice earlier?" I caught my throat and said, "I trusted her. I guess I was too busy trying to work and keep us afloat." I felt exposed like shit. I wanted to hide my face. But I had to stand tall. The judge's face was stern, eyes on me like a hawk. I felt every word weighing me down. At the end of the hearing, the judge sentenced Shanice to 2 years, no bail, straight to state. They took her away shackled, cuffs clanking, and Malik broke down. He ran up to me, crying, "Ma, what's gonna happen to her?" I couldn't say shit. I just hugged him tight and whispered, "He gon' be okay." But inside I was torn. I loved Shanice once. We started this family together. And now she was in prison for taking that money. We got emergency custody of Malik right then and there. I got him that same day. The judge froze Shanice's access to his college savings. It was painful. Our apartment felt too big with just us, so I packed up what we needed and moved to a one-bedroom sublet across town. No fancy spot, kinda rundown, roaches in the fridge, but it was ours. We moved at midnight so nobody saw us. I left Shanice's stuff behind. Felt weird to leave our life, but I couldn't stay. In our new apartment, the walls felt bare. Malik's old trophies and posters got packed tight in boxes. We slept on air mattresses. I couldn't afford a couch yet. I cooked whatever I could, ramen, eggs, beans, and tried to make it feel like home. Some nights, Malik just sat in the dark, watching the streetlights flicker. I'd ask him, "You hungry?" He'd shrug, say, "I'm okay." But I saw how he missed her. People on our block heard the story quick. They'd whisper when I passed, "That's Tish, her baby's mom went to jail." I felt their eyes on me, like I brought shame. I stopped hanging out with most folks. I went to church less. Auntie Keisha came by with groceries, canned tuna, pasta, shampoo. She held Malik close and told him, "Your mom made a choice. You ain't at fault." Malik nodded, but his eyes were heavy. Time went on and Shanice stayed locked up. I got a call months later. She tried to stab a guard, got moved to max. My heart felt like it ripped. I didn't cry, I just sat on the floor, hands on my knees. I thought about how we used to plan our futures, buying a starter home, family trips, scholarship for Malik, and how fast it all blew up. I felt partly responsible cause I trusted her so much, but she made her choices. Mama Price helped me freeze the rest of the college fund, had to write to the bank, get new accounts, lock everything down. It was painful to see the numbers there, zeros where we planned thousands. But I enrolled Malik in community college on a partial Pell Grant and scholarships he'd apply for. He was bouncing back, focusing on his studies. He got a part-time gig at the campus coffee shop, making a few bucks to help cover books. I was proud, but it hurt thinking he had to hustle so early cause of his mom. One weekend, I took Malik to get his first job interview at a local grocery down the street. He was 12 then, too young, but he rushed to do bagging and cart duty so he could save for things. I stood there outside, arms crossed, watching him with pride and pain. He came out with a flyer for his next interview. "Customer service." He grinned. "Ma, I got it." I hugged him so tight I nearly choked. "That's my baby," I said. The block politics got messy. Neighbor ladies whispered behind their curtains. "Per baby, his mom's robbed his future." Shopkeepers stared when I walked in to buy Pampers for my niece I was babysitting. I felt like I had to prove we wasn't trash. So I started working 2 jobs again, assistant overnights at that same bodega and hair braiding on the side. I'd braid hair after my bodega shift, hearing gossip from my clients as they sat under the dryer. They'd say, "Girl, I heard about your girl." I'd nod, silent. "Malik's a fighter. He did all right in school, straight A's in 7th grade. He got into the hip-hop club, practiced DJ sets at home. One day, some kids at school made fun of him. 'Yo, your mom's a thief!' He got in a fight, came home with a busted lip. I felt my blood boil, but we talked. I told him, 'You keep your head up, baby. They only jealous 'cause you got heart.' He nodded, wiped his lip, and said, 'I'm good.' That's when I knew he was stronger than me. By the time Shanice's release date came, Malik was 15, blowing up on the DJ scene at weekend block parties. He got a scholarship to a magnet high school, math and science program. I danced around the apartment like we won the lottery. I saved every dime for his school fees, uniforms, school supplies. I worried he might abandon me for a bigger life, but he stuck around. Some nights he stayed late to study at the library. I'd fall asleep on the couch, wake up with my head on his backpack. One rainy afternoon, I got a letter from Shanice's parole officer. Shanice got out, home arrest, but wanting to see Malik. My heart sank. I had spent years talking shit about her, felt back in my gut like she ruined us. I didn't know what to do. I asked Mama Price. "Is he ready?" She said, "Ask him." I did. Malik stared at me, eyes clouded, and said, "Ma, I want to see her." That hit me like a shot. I said, "You sure, baby?" He nodded, voice shaky. I felt fierce protectiveness, but I let him decide. We set up a supervised visit at that community center on Pine Street. The first time was awkward as hell. I waited in the lobby with my chest tight, heart pounding. I saw Shanice walk in, hair short, skin pale, eyes ringed. She looked lost. Malik sat across from her at a little table. There was a social worker in between with her clip pad. Shanice whispered, "Malik, I'm so sorry." He looked at her, face hard, like he saw a stranger. He said, "I'm okay." That cut me deeper than any blade. They hugged, quick, and she cried more. I felt like a monster watching, but I stayed put. I told Malik, "I'll be outside." I paced in that hallway, hands clasped, thinking, what did I do? After that, visit times got less frequent 'cause I saw it was hurting him more than helping. I wrote Shanice a letter. "You gotta earn your way back. We'll see." I stuffed it in her box at the prison, not expecting a reply. But a week later I got one. "I'm in NA now. Got a job making sandwiches at the halfway house. I want my son back. I love him." I stared at that page long into the night. I felt torn. Some part of me still loved her. But another part said, "Nah, she ain't earned it." I crumpled the letter, tossed it. In the meantime, Malik was killing it. He started DJing paid gigs at 15, Sweet 16s, block parties. He saved enough to buy his own turntables and a little PA. I cried the first time I heard him scratch on vinyl. That was my boy's future right there, undone by his mom but rewoven by his own hustle. I was so proud it felt like my chest might burst. I kept working the bodega late nights to cover rent and food. I braided hair on weekends, long braids, cornrows, feed-ins for extra cash. People started calling me Miss Tish, the braid queen. They'd ask about Malik, give him props when I brought him clothes after a big gig. It made me feel less invisible. One day, email popped up from State U, Malik's acceptance to their honors program. He got a partial scholarship and work study. I fell to my knees crying when I saw it. "You did it, baby," I said over and over, hugging his letter. He was 17 then, tears in his eyes, voice breaking. "Ma, this is it." I promised him I'd be there on move-in day with a car packed with his stuff. Summer before he left, we spent every weekend together, go-kart tracks, museum trips, cookouts at Auntie Keisha's. He got a little girlfriend, Saad, a nurse in training who came by to help him with biology. I liked her, she seemed real. She said, "Keep doing your thing, Chris." He winked, and I rolled my eyes. He turned into a fine young man, and some days I still couldn't believe he was mine. The day he left for college, I packed his bags in that old Chevy Malibu we scraped together for him. Seats ripped, radio buzzed, but it was his. I drove him to campus on move-in day. I watched him lug boxes up 3 flights, books, clothes, his turntables. He turned, waved, and I felt like I might drown in tears. He yelled, "I love you, Ma!" I yelled back, "I love you more!" And I held back from running at him. I know he needed space, but it felt like a piece of me left that day. After he drove off, I sat in the car, hands on the steering wheel, stare at the road ahead. I thought, "You good, baby?" Realized I had built this path for him without Shanice, but I felt empty. I turned the key, engine roared, and I prayed he'd be safe. Shanice's parole ended a few months later. I got another letter from her. She said she was clean 6 months, got a spot at a non-profit that helped former inmates. She wanted a meeting, but I never wrote back. I wasn't ready to face her. I had to focus on my own shit, my job, my hair shop, my own hopes. Years passed. Malik finished college with a business degree and moved to Chicago to work for a startup. I flew up for his graduation. I sat in that big auditorium, tears blazing again when he got his diploma. He caught my eye, mouthed, "We did it." I nodded, proud beyond words. I came back to my small apartment, bare walls, some braid supplies in the corner, pictures of me and Malik on the fridge. I thought about everything, Shanice's choices, my choices, how we repaired the damage. I felt stronger now, but I knew I'd always bear these scars. I still tell my story to my new clients or neighbors who'll listen, saying it like it happened last night. They lean in like, "Damn, Tish, that's wild." I tell them, "For real, no cap." I don't forgive Shanice, but I don't hate her so much either. I pity her. She chose drugs over her child's future. But who am I to judge? I made mistakes too, trusted her too much, stayed blind too long. I regret how it ended but don't take accountability for her mess. The story's raw, uncut. She used our son's money, I testified, she went to jail, and I got my kid. We're here still pushing forward. So when it's 2 a.m. and the world's quiet, I replay it all in my head. She used our son's college fund to pay her drug dealer. I testified, she got prison and I got my son. My eyes burn, my heart aches, but I keep going. That's my truth, raw, gritty, hood as hell, and no cap, that's real life.